awesome. I'm like, can we share stories about hot flashes? And she said, nope, we are not going to do that. So, note to self, the governor has boundaries. You can't just talk to her about anything. But let me tell you that, and I know this is too much information, but why aren't we allowed to talk about this, right? If you've ever had hot flashes, you know how difficult that can be. If you've ever had hot flashes live on CNN, it's a whole different experience. When you have to tell Wolf Blitzer, like when you start doing this, like in the middle of an interview, being a woman in government can be hard.
We love you.
But women, serving in state government, more than ever now, we have more women than we've had, I think, ever in the history of our state, serving in positions of significant authority. We got young moms, we got old moms, we got grandmas. We have women of every race, every religion, every sexual orientation. But what's funny is if you ask the old guard Lansing Lobbying Corps, we definitely have too many women in Lansing. And the reason that I say that is because of this. They have no idea how to lobby us. Now the time was that lobbying Michigan electeds was very easy. Expensive dinners and drinks, cigars, you go to the strip club, and yes, escorts. And it was a barely concealed secret that lobbyists would provide, paid female sexual companionship for male electeds. And this was very true. And that was an easy way to influence a legislator's vote, and also to sometimes blackmail them into submission. Not so with the women elected. So, much to the consternation of many of these old-time lobbyists who simply just didn't know what to do with us, I had a lobbyist actually talk to me, and he's like, how do I get this woman to listen to me, to pay attention to my issue? Because some of these women would just repeatedly refuse to go to the dinners or to go to the concerts or things that they used to do together. And I said, they want to get home to their families, right? They want to go, they want to do their job, they want to go home, they want to get back to their families, and they don't want to spend all their extra time with lobbyists. It's just, that's the way it is. And I was like, I'll tell you what, here's what you're gonna do. You want to lobby me? Send like a foot masseuse to my home, and we'll put on Real Housewives, and in between commercials, you can throw at me whatever you want. And that's probably gonna be the best way to get my attention. And with like some of the young moms in the legislature, and we have a whole lot of them, here's what you do. You get them a babysitter, and then you follow them to Kroger or Meijer, and then you can race next to them with a cart, and you can say whatever you want as they're buying their, doing their weekly grocery shopping. Because let me tell you something, the female electeds that I serve with, they are still doing the grocery shopping for their families. They are still helping their kids with their homework, and they're still taking them to the ball games, and they still do all of that. Just in between, they're also saving Michigan and saving democracy. And now, of course, it's not just, it's your executive office holders, it is your legislators, and it's also 4 out of 7 justices on the Michigan Supreme Court. All of them moms, all of them with young or youngish kids. So when I took office, just some things to note, right? So I took office in 2019. What I noticed, I did a review of my staff, and I have almost 600 people who work for me at the department. And we're talking about, obviously, assistant attorneys general and special agents. We have our own police force within the Department of Attorney General, and support staff, lots of legal assistants and paralegals and all the rest. And what I discovered was this, is that on average, my female staffers were making 20% less than their male counterparts
In the government?
for the exact same jobs, the exact same amount of experience. And so with the rules of civil service, it took me a few years, but I was finally able to balance that so we could raise all the salaries of women who were not making as much as their male counterparts. When I took over, less than a third of our division chiefs, and we have over 25 of them in the office that run all of our civil and criminal divisions, were women. Now fully half of them are. And let me tell you, it was not hard to do because there were so many qualified women who had just been passed over through the years for these jobs. And so, it feels really great to be able to get in there and, see all the issues that we've talked about for so long and actually be able to do something about it instead of just complaining on Facebook like I used to. All right, do you want to hear another tampon joke?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is premenopausal data before the Wolf Blitzer interview. This is true. My first big meeting with the governor between my staff and her staff, and we go into, she's in the Romney building, and we go into this, like one of those like really long boardroom tables, and it was so fascinating to look around because I thought, oh my God, all of our top level staffers are women, and like my chief deputy was a woman, my solicitor general was a woman, my chief of operations was a woman, and same with the governor, like person after person, surrounding us, our top level people were women. And I just remember at that time, we're involved in this very important meeting, had to excuse myself to go to the ladies, and was just like, well, I'm just us girls here, I'm gonna say it. Does anybody here have a tampon I could borrow? To which the governor looked at me and said, Madam Attorney General, everyone here has a tampon. So, again, this was 2019, but the thing that honestly, I know some of you are going to be like, that was the worst. I can't believe I had to sit through the tampon jokes, the hot flash shows. But I will say this, I think having so many women who are running our state means a lot of things very different than what we've seen in the past. And it means knowing and understanding the importance of things like reproductive rights in our state, child care issues, domestic violence, sexual harassment and sexual assault, and also, let me say, human trafficking. And I will never forget, this is a real conversation. My department is, we have the Human Trafficking Commission is housed within the Department of Attorney General, and the lead person on there is my designee. And we had come up with just a slew of proposals for the legislature to consider in order to assist human trafficking survivors and also hold traffickers accountable. And honestly, part of my suggested legislation involved enhanced penalties for Johns. And when I say that, I mean maybe not the first time. Maybe the first time you get an education and you learn that not everybody is there voluntarily, and it's not all this whole pretty woman thing that you see from Julia Roberts. But the second time, just like we do with domestic violence cases, or just like we do with OWI cases, where each time you get caught, it's something a little more significant, and it's not always a slap on the wrist, because you reduce the demand, you're gonna, by necessity, not have the supply, right? And so, but what I learned, and this is a real thing, a real concern that was voiced when I couldn't get anything through, and I was sort of perplexed. I'm like, gosh, human trafficking, is that not a bipartisan issue? You know? And then I had some male legislators say, well, I'm just afraid this is gonna criminalize me getting lap dances at the strip club. And I was just not expecting that. I did not see that coming as a reason why we should not have enhanced accountability on human trafficking issues. And to be honest with you, one of the people that was really holding it up was our former Speaker of the House, Lee Chatfield. We have an ongoing investigation. I can't say much about that right now, except for, like, it all kind of made sense to me later on why he objected to these bills and wouldn't allow them to move. But I will say this, those bills are being reintroduced this fall. I am testifying in support of them in the House on September 27th, mark your calendars. And so far I have not had one female legislator complain to me that they were concerned about how this would affect their ability to get lap dances. So I have never been so tired, but also I have never been so proud to be one of those women from Michigan. All of you here, please keep doing exactly what you're doing. You know, keep being who you are and keep being inspiring women who inspire other women. It makes a difference. It matters, and you are making a real difference, not just in our state, but all throughout our country. People from the whole of the United States are looking to us here in Michigan. It's every day that you read an article or you see a piece on television about the state of Michigan and all the things that we can accomplish when we come together and we